If you go back, we all know the proverb, don't shoot the messenger. It exists precisely because so many rulers throughout history did shoot the messenger, or its equivalent, and it's almost always marked the beginning of their downfall. To kill or attack a negotiator is more than an act of violence. It's a declaration that dialogue is finished, that truth is unwelcome, that tyranny has consumed judgment. And let's remind ourselves of some of those ancient precedents before turning to the present day. In ancient Greece, when Xerxes of Persia sent heralds to demand earth and water from the Greek cities as tokens of submission, some complied, but Athens threw the envoys in a pit and Sparta threw them into a well. The result was not Persian domination, but the galvanizing of Greek resistance. Xerxes believed terror would silence opposition. Instead, it provoked the alliance that defeated him eventually at Salamis, but it was a nasty battle. It was a nasty period. In the time of King Tullius Hostilius, Alba Longa broke the sacred law of diplomacy by mistreating Roman envoys. Rome retaliated, war followed, and Alba Longa ceased to exist completely. Livy moralized that the gods themselves punished those who violated the inviolability of negotiators. Darius sent heralds to the Scythians demanding their surrender. The Scythians sent back a cryptic bundle, a mouse, a frog, a bird, and arrows. The message was clear: unless you can hide or flee, you will be destroyed. And Darius ignored the meaning, and his army collapsed in retreat. Nero punished the bearers of bad news. Messengers of revolt were beaten or executed. Generals delayed reports, and by refusing to hear reality, Nero cut himself off from rescue, and he died, abandoned his empire aflame. And then, of course, there's what happened to Pompey, his head delivered in a basket to Caesar. And the medieval echo, Genghis Khan, delivered the Shah of Krezim, I think that's how you pronounce it, seeking trade. The Shah killed them. Genghis Khan sent envoys to the Shah of Krezim, and the Shah killed them. And in reply, Genghis annihilated the Shah's empire in one of history's most devastating campaigns. That episode remains the archetype: kill the envoy, and destruction follows. It's not always the case, as we saw with Xerxes. But to the present day, Israel has struck Hamas leaders in Qatar, including members of its negotiating team. Qatar has long been a host of mediation, from the US-Taliban talks to delicate ceasefire attempts between Hamas and Israel. To attack negotiators in the very place where diplomacy is being attempted is a profoundly dangerous precedent. And it is, in essence, the modern version of killing the messenger. It says, we do not want talks, we do not tolerate intermediaries, we do not recognize the sanctity of negotiation. All we want is war. Consider the consequences for Israel itself. By targeting Hamas representatives in Doha, Israel has undercut the very possibility of negotiation. If negotiators can be killed, why would any adversary ever come to the table again? For Qatar, a country that hosts the largest US airbase in the region, has now been bombed by an ostensible ally of Washington. This raises grave questions about sovereignty, security, and America's complicity. For the wider world, if mediators are not safe, then the machinery of diplomacy is fatally damaged. It invites a world where wars never end because talks cannot begin. History tells us that those who kill envoys may win a battle, but they almost always lose in the long arc of the consequences. Xerxes lost Greece. Alba Longa was erased. Nero perished in shame. The Shah of Kazim lost his empire. Israel may calculate that killing negotiators will weaken Hamas, but history whispers another message. Such acts often isolate the perpetrator, harden the enemy, summon nemesis. When you silence the envoy, you silence the path to peace. The moral is stark and perennial. To attack negotiators is not strength, but fear disguised as power. And in every age, it is the surest sign that the ruler has chosen destruction over dialogue. It doesn't greatly surprise me about Netanyahu. He's a fool. But it does surprise me that Israel, which is one of the more intelligent and civilized countries in the world, which has a host of intelligent people in its population, can tolerate such a tyranny, such a tyrannous rule. It saddens me, it shocks me, We've had, what, two years to get used to this nonsense, and it's shocking.